Hey guys, it's your boy Prince. Welcome to Advice with Prince. Today, I have my very first guest. She's a really dope artist, singer, dancer, songwriter, producer. She does it all. Plus, she just got done touring with a legendary person that we all love. Well, y'all better love. Welcome, Brie. What up?
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Thank you for being our first guest on Advice for Prince.
Yeah, this gave me something to look forward to during this quarantine.
Well, thank you. I'm trying to, help the people out a little bit while we stay in the house. So, tell them what you've been doing from January 16th, I believe, all the way up until February 14th. What were you doing?
For touring, I was touring with Tyler Perry for and Tamla Mann and David Mann and Miss Cassie.
Okay, back up. Who?
Tamla Mann, David Mann, Miss Cassie Davis, and Tyler Perry for Medea's farewell play tour.
Okay, y'all heard that. Y'all heard that, okay? and I can say that I went to 6 shows. I think I can say it was a very good show. Probably the best tour out of all of them. So how was that?
Amazing, life-changing, affirming of so many things that I've always been worried about. If having a passion and having a passion and having a goal and something that just seems so unobtainable sometimes. You can go to school to be an actor or a singer, but it's skill, and then part of it is just God. Most of it is just God.
Yeah.
So I won't even say luck. If you want to say 2% luck, then fine. But I think most of it is just God and me being prepared for the moment. And so a lot of times being an actor or a singer, you get told no more than you get told yes.
Oh yeah.
And so for me, it was just a moment of, it was a yes. It was my, Mr. Perry always says all you need is one yes from God. And that was one of my one yeses from God. And so for me, more than just going on tour with these legends and being on stage with these amazing artists, it put me in a space to continue to have faith in myself, continue to have faith in my craft, and continue to have faith in my God and what he has planned for me in the future.
Of course. And then also because what people don't always get about the business is sometimes you go in because you were not cast as the role that you had at first. You went in to read for them, right?
I got a call. So January 1st, I actually haven't even really put this story out in any type of forum, any type of way. But I got a phone call from one of their casting directors that I've known for years. And this was January 2nd.
Raven?
So,
you talking about Raven?
Yes, Raven.
Okay.
Raven. I love. Yeah. So I got a call from Raven. Really the night before, I had been up. I was at my boyfriend's house and I had been up all night and I was just writing out my goals. One of my very good friends has told me for years, write out your goals, just write out what you want. I'm like, I don't do New Year's resolutions. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen. And so I was like, something told me to just sit down and write them out. And one of my goals was to tour, and one of them was to do a stage play. Sure. They were separate goals, but I had them on the sheet. And then 9 hours later, I get a call from Raven, and she's like, hey, Mr. Perry, mind you, too, in November, I had said, I gotta take my mom to go see this play. This is the last Medea play. I've never seen a Medea play. And I don't care if I have to sell my left arm. I'm taking her to go see Medea when it comes to Atlanta. So I had already planned to like go to the show and figure out what I was gonna sell to buy tickets, right? So
Them tickets were high. They high.
Yeah, they was high, but we're worth it. But
Yeah.
high. But yes,
Yeah,
I would have had to sell my arm. So I get a call from Raven, and she's like, "Hey, Miss Perry wrote 2 roles and for this play that they're doing." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I know about it." And she was like, "You know, we just need a reader for the day. Like, can you just come? And you have to be here in like an hour." Mind you, I was asleep, so I was like,
yeah.
So I jump up, throw on some clothes, put on some makeup, and brush my hair a little bit, and then I go to the studio, and then I have a read through with them. And then, by the end of the day, I was like, okay. And it was everybody's first day of rehearsal. Mm-hmm. So by the end of day, I asked them if they wanted me to come back for another rehearsal. And they were like, yeah, we haven't casted the role, just come back. So I said, okay. So I came back the next day, and by lunchtime, I was like, all right, maybe I'm gonna get this, because they haven't said anything. And then by the end of that day, by the time lunch came, our director, Mark Swinton, was like, we want to thank Ashley Gillum for standing in today for us until we find our Robin. And in my head, I was like, man.
Oh, he did that.
Yeah, it was like, dang, I didn't get it. And I was like, all right, it's cool. I was okay with it because I was just happy to be in the room. Mm-hmm. And long story short, then later that day before we got dismissed, they offered me the role. And so everybody was happy for me. It was cool to see Tamala and David and Miss Cassie, legends, like really like excited for me to be a part.
They are so nice too.
Yeah, they are.
So nice.
They are.
And also, what people don't get is how fast, because you guys, Mr. Perry works very, very fast. So you guys had 10 days before y'all went on tour?
Yeah, it was about 10 days from start to finish. Yep.
So
learning the script, putting it on its feet. Yeah.
Yes, which some people they take on Broadway they take 7 to 8 weeks. But Mr. Perry, being Mr. Perry, he wants stuff to be quick, and even though it's only 10 days, you would not know if you saw the show. You probably would be like, "Ooh, they had months to rehearse," but that's not how this goes.
Yeah.
Really, like Brie said, you get a call and you gotta wake up and get to the studio. This 400-acre studio that Mr. Perry owns.
It's beautiful too. It's beautiful.
I
want to live there.
Well, he has houses on there.
Yeah.
He does. I rode by the property the first time I went down to Atlanta, and I'm like, whoa, it's big. Like, being on that bus with Quay and Alexis and Kendrick, Ravon, how was that? Because you were on the road for months. The first road.
Yeah, last year we were on the road for 5 months straight. We had a week or 2 in between, but it was pretty much a straight shot. It was fine. Everybody was very respectful. I've been blessed to not have any issues with castmates within productions I've been. Let me knock on some wood. I don't want it to start happening now, but every production I've been a part of, when I leave, I feel like we're family, and this was no different. Everybody was, people have their ways, especially being away from their families for so long and stuff. That can take a toll on you for sure. But I mean, to be honest with you, we all worked really well together. Everybody was respectful of each other's space. We're all fun and
Oh yeah. Those stories that I saw the whole tour were just so much fun to look at and to see. And that kind of brings me to my next topic, because sadly, look, tours can be very, very difficult. Well, you know what? Shows, period, can be difficult, and people can be difficult. How do you deal with if you're on set and let's say somebody is having a really, really bad day and they just mad at everybody, and they're not the nicest person to be with, but you still have to go on camera or go on stage and convey that you like this person when you might not like that person in real life.
Yeah.
How do you navigate that?
I think just maintaining professionalism and knowing why you're here. You're here to be an actor, right? So act, I mean, before you met this person, whether this person plays your wife or your brother or your grandmother or whatever, like before you met this person, you didn't know who they were. You didn't love them. You didn't really have any feelings for them. You guys were just two actors put together, and there was no emotion tying what you have to do. And so I think sometimes when you have a moment with someone, when they're having a day or they're having a moment, you have to just remember why you're there. And you're there as a paid actor, so, or even if you're not a paid actor, you can even be a free situation, but at the end of the day, if you're being an actor, then be an actor at all times. Leave the stuff off the stage. I mean, I grew up dancing and performing and all kinds of things, and I've had people that had to throw me in the air that we got in an argument an hour before, and I have to trust that you're going to be a professional and throw me in the air and not let me hit the ground just because you're mad at me because of something that happened an hour ago. So, yeah.
Of course. Yeah, and like you say, like, you just have to remember, like, look here, well, I already signed this contract, and so I'm just gonna have to go out there and convey, whatever the story is that I have to tell. I have to just focus on that and not that person per se, because the audience they don't know. They don't know what just happened, and they don't care. All they know is they pay good money to see a show, and then want you to show up and do what you need to do.
Yeah.
And
it was nice that it was really nice to hear that, like, David and Tam and Miss Cassie, I mean, they specifically said, like, our tour was their favorite tour that they've done.
Really?
20, yeah. I mean, I'm sure there's others that are as memorable or that are our favorite, but that just made me feel so great. And they were like, you guys aren't fighting, nobody's arguing, there's no this, there's no pettiness, everybody's a team and working together. And it really just made me feel so good, because I feel like they deserve to end their legacy in the media world. They deserve to end it that way. They deserve to be able to be just like, this is easy, I'm having fun. We heard a lot of stories about other people. Nobody ever named.
Oh yeah. Because I know some people that work and for guys, these tours, they can be very, very stressful, especially because you guys were going from arenas. Not they did houses, they did like theaters too, but arenas. They were going to big arenas, and basically you get done with the show, you get on the bus, you sleep for 2 hours, you get back up.
Prince, it just depends. I mean, some days we had 3 shows in one day. It's like,
I forgot about that.
We have 3 shows in one day, and then you gotta go and like you said, get on a bus or get on a plane, and really our off day was Monday, but Monday was also a travel day. So it's like, that's our off day. But then when you think about traveling is just stressful in itself. So heck, you need a vacation from your travel days sometimes. So so it was stressful, but I think the fun for me, overrode the stress. There were whenever I was stressful, I was just like, girl, you need to just be so thankful you in this position.
Exactly. Like, look, I'm on tour with all these legends and all that. And also too, this kind of bring me to my next point, because I think one big misconception is we get paid a whole lot of money when we don't. What happens is most of the time you get a big amount of money for a project, but that might be your only project for the whole year. So I don't want to put any numbers out, but let's just say you have a big sum of money that usually you be like, oh, I can buy me a car with this amount of money, but really you have to save. Can you like just give us some insight on like how that works and like how much you have to budget, even if you get like, I'm just gonna make up a number. Let's say you get like $15,000 for a 4-month tour. I'm not saying that what you got, cause I'm not saying that. But let's just say that's what the case. How do you make that 15 last the whole year, and like what happens with that?
Yeah, that's a great point, Prince. You have to budget, you have to sacrifice. There are so many birthday vacations, weddings, girlfriend trips and stuff that I haven't been able to do, that I've missed out on. There are things that I've wanted. I probably, honestly, last year is the first time that I was like, I'm gonna buy a pair of sneakers because I want them, not because I need them. Like seriously, like a $200 pair of sneakers. Like that's the first time that I have taken my money and done something like that, because I'm always, you could give me $100,000 right now and I'm still gonna stress over money, because being an artist, being an independent artist, whether you're a singer, a dancer, or actor, whatever you do in the profession of visual artist, it's very difficult. And a lot of that money goes into you investing in yourself. So a lot of it is budgeting, a lot of it is sacrifice, And I think that's honestly where a lot of people kind of fall short when it comes to pursuing their dream in reality. Well, it's nice to say you want to be an actor or a singer, but until you understand what comes with it. For me, one of my biggest things is that I know how to do a lot of things myself. I can do my own makeup and my own hair and dress myself, and I can present myself as a star without having to spend money. But there are a lot of people out there that rely on a makeup artist or a hairstylist for the littlest thing. It could be an appearance, it could be a show or whatever. But a lot of my music videos, a lot of my stage performances, I've done my own hair, I've done my own makeup, because to me, that's $250 that I would just be giving to somebody for the moment. Whereas I can take that money and keep it and save it. I'll give you another example. This past fall, I'm with ASCAP, which is a performance rights organization.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm with both, but we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm with ASCAP, and they had a songwriters competition in New York this October, and I was actually performing at my alma mater like the day before. So basically what the songwriting competition was you had to go out to New York and you had to write a song with a team that they assembled for you to be in. And then a week later, you had to present the song in front of everybody, and it was a competition and they picked which ones they liked and all that. But they didn't give you housing, and there was a cash prize. They didn't tell you what the cash prize was, but they didn't give you housing and they didn't give you transportation. So I had to fly myself there. Yeah, but it's a risk that you take. I've done it before too. Even with let me finish that story. I had to fly myself there. This was like probably October 5th or 6th. And then I had to come back to Atlanta to do a show on the 16th. And then I had to fly back to New York on the 17th and then fly back here on the 18th. Mind you, this is all out of my pocket. And luckily I have friends that love me in New York and LA, so I can always go and crash on their couch when I need to be there.
Yes.
But
That's great.
Yeah. And even with New York, like I did a gig when I first started doing gigs with Iggy. I got a phone call about, hey, there's this opportunity. We're going to do this gig with Iggy. And I was like, sure. And they were like, but you got to get to LA tomorrow. Guess who paid for that? I did. So I say all that to say, if you want to do this, you have to be so willing and open to the sacrifices that comes financially, emotionally, mentally, all of those things. And you just have to know that it's what you really want to do, and yes, budget your money. Don't go to clubs and bars and all kinds of things and buying fancy clothes when you don't know that you have money coming in. So that's the best advice I can give on that.
I learned that the hard way a long time ago. Well, you know, I'm like, oh, okay, we ain't gonna do that here.
Yeah.
But yeah, you really have to invest in your own self, and sometimes that means taking a pay cut. You might have to do something for $500. This so you can get ahead to do more stuff, because you know, even if you tour with a big name, that just, you know, that could be 6 months, that could be 3 months of money, but then after that, a lot of people, they have to do, you know, they either do vocal lessons, they teach, or they'll, you know, be like flight attendants just to keep money coming in.
Yeah, and having another job. Like I've had so many odd jobs. One of my biggest ones before I kind of just hunkered down and just focused on this was being a nanny. I was a nanny for like 4 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was a nanny for 2 boys here in Atlanta. For like, they're like family now. So, but I nannied for them for a while, like while I was touring with Nick Jonas and Iggy, and just kind of had to like figure my schedule out. But not even that. I mean,
she said names, and then you said who?
Oh, I'm sorry.
You said who?
I used to sing backup for Nick Jonas and Iggy Azalea, like on different tours. So
let me tell y'all, Brie is she low-key famous, y'all. So this
I'm definitely listen, but you know the thing about it is that, like, for me it's the Detroit hustle. You know, for me that's what's always, I mean, I've worked on food trucks. I was a waitress on and off for 7 years. So you have to be willing to sacrifice and figure something out. I don't ask my parents for money. I don't ask them to give me anything, or, you know, whatever. So it's just like, you have to, if it's what you want to do, you have to put the effort into it.
You gotta work. And also, like, that brings me to my next topic, is copyright and contracts. The big thing for me is, you know, I own all my stuff. I'm on production company, and, you know, from the songs that I write, the plays that I write, the music that I create, all that is owned by me. But that means that I have to not only put the money in, but get attorneys and deal with contracts. And contracts can be very, very difficult, and like negotiations with people. Can you speak a little bit on how important it is to know the actual business part? Because some people, they'll put out something like, oh, and then somebody else put the same thing out, and they're like, wait, that's my stuff, but they don't have anything to say like, oh, that's mine. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, like you said, it's very important. I feel like I'm still learning that lesson. I feel like as you get to different levels, you just start to realize, like, oh, okay, well, that one thing that I did at level 1 is not going to work at level 5. So now I'm in a different space, or now I need an attorney. Now I can't really kind of go through this contract and figure it out myself. It's definitely important to have an attorney or to have any management if you can have them. There's lots of free information that's out. I'm sorry, I have something in my eye. There's lots of free information that's out now on, if you Google, or, you know, you might find something that's similar to your situation. But the best thing to do, I think, is to find an entertainment attorney. Yeah. And I love mine. Mine is actually, we're actual like friends too, besides her being my attorney. So it's nice. Yeah, it's nice. But I would suggest finding an entertainment attorney. And I also believe in like getting people involved in your career who are maybe in a beginning stage of their career. I'm just a big believer in like teamwork makes the dream work. So if you know somebody who is maybe a 4th year law student and they're getting ready to take the bar and they're an entertainment attorney, you might be able to say like, hey, I can't pay you that much, but because this is kind of going to be your first go round at it, like, can we work together on this? And can you help me figure out how to X, Y, and Z? And that's a good way to kind of make sure you have representation, but obviously it's expensive. But you want to take care of your people. So however you can, even if it's, hey, I can't pay you your whole retainer, but can I pay you something? People appreciate that. Mm-hmm. So I definitely think it's important. And make sure you read your contracts, and don't let people bully you. That's happened to me before, where I've been bullied and rushed into signing something that I didn't know what it really was, what the verbiage really was. So, if somebody really wants you on their project or wants to work with you, then they'll wait for you.
Yes. And also because that's a good point. She said read, because there's a lot of people, I'll give them a contract and they're like, okay, what do I say? I'm like, wait, you gonna read it? Wait, no.
Right.
I'm like, no. I'm like, look, I'm not that kind of guy. But if I was, you just made it easy for me to own everything. And 5 years later, wait, they're getting a lot of money, and I'm getting 2 cents every 6 months. What's going on with this contract? So really have to.
You gotta read it. You gotta read it. If it's something you don't understand, even if you do understand, like I said, I would suggest going to an attorney. I mean, maybe if you're getting a lot of contracts coming your way, maybe it's something that you can take in bulk to your attorney and be like, hey, can you guys, especially if they're 1-pagers or 2-pagers, and those are kind of easy for them to get through. It's the 15-page contracts that are kind of a lot. But what I would say, because that's such a good point too, is that a lot of people will just see what they can get away with. Mm-hmm. So they'll put something in there to be like, let me just see if you're paying attention. You're gonna catch it. Oh, you didn't catch it. You signed it. All right, cool. Which is wrong. I think it's morally wrong. I understand that that's our business, but I also think it's morally wrong. But I also feel like it's nobody's fault but your own if you don't read it, or if you don't get somebody to read it for you or with you. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
because like I said, I can't tell you how many contracts that I've given people, and they're just like they just sign. I'm like, okay, well, I really hope that you learn from what, sometimes people have to learn on their own, and they have to. We all go through things. I know I have different times where everybody got paid but me, and you put in the bill and you get a real bad loss. You may lose more money than the show even cost, but you still have to pay these people their money back. So I think it's very important that you know what you're doing, and also if you want to be an entertainer, don't go into this thinking, oh, I'm gonna be rich like that, because that's not how it. Because you've been working 15, 20 years?
Oh, honey, longer than that. Yeah, I mean, professional.
Well, you're young though. You're young girl.
Well, yes, thank you. Yes, I mean, I'm not like 40 or anything, but I even though 40 is still young, so nothing against 40-year-olds. I hope to see 40, but I've been as a professional actor. I've been working since 9, so and it takes a long time. And listen, it's crazy because there are some people out there, especially now with this age, because of what we define as a celebrity or what we define as talent. Just don't even get me started on that, because I'll go on a rant. But for those people, they might become overnight successes and become millionaires and whatever like that. Mm-hmm. To me, that's fast money, and that's not longevity. It may be right in this moment that they're doing it, but if we look at them in 10 years, I don't know if they'll be here. And so for me, I'm yes, do I wish that I had $1 billion right now? Absolutely I do. But at the same time, I would rather work for it and get it and have it so solid that I can do this for the rest of my life. I want to be Tina Turner and be 70 in my 70s performing. Like that's the goal for me. I want to be a Patti LaBelle. I want to be a Angela Bassett. I want to be in my 50s and my 60s and my 70s and still performing. So for and an overnight success is 10 years in the making. So you know, it's kind of that thing. You have to. If you're in this business because you want to make money, you're in the wrong business. Sorry.
You're so unhappy. You were gonna wake up depressed as hell. Like,
yeah, you will.
And even like some days, you know, it'd be like, damn, do I really want to do this? Like, this is a lie. Like, I don't know. But can you talk about the bad days you have? Because, you know, every day ain't gonna be good. Even on a big tour, there's some days where you're like, why? Why did I pick this?
I think the biggest thing with bad days specifically on tour, I'll start with that.
Okay.
If I had a bad day, I mean, there's so many things that can factor into that. You could be sick, tired. I mean, just and not even tired. I don't think that I've experienced, there's only one time in my life that I've experienced a level of exhaustion that was more than that. But this lasted longer than that. Like the exhaustion that I felt when this was over, I felt like my body was running on autopilot. When I got off tour last year, and I'm thanking God so much that I didn't get sick because I get sick very easily and we were traveling so much. Wow. I get sick oh my God, Prince, I will get the flu from being on a plane if somebody had it. Like, it's ridiculous. Oh, no. But I wasn't sick the whole run of the first one. The second leg, I got sick like right at the beginning. But I was sick, child. I was stuffy on stage. I sounded horrible. I was like, and my hands done. I sounded, my nose was it was horrible. But it went away in like a week. But I would just say the level of exhaustion, missing your family, missing your friends, that's hard. That gets really hard, especially when it's not like this last time was fine because it was like, hey, I'm gone for the weekend. I'm back during the week. Gone for the weekend, back during the week. But the first leg, when we were gone for like months straight, probably by like month 3, it got to be like, dang, I've missed another birthday, or my mom's having her birthday and I'm not there. Like, it's those moments that are really hard. And I think, and so that's specifically with touring. With just being an artist, there are days, depression is real. And I just want to take a moment to even just talk about and recognize mental health, because especially in our community, it's something that we shy away from talking about, and we don't feel comfortable talking about it. But it's a real thing, and it's hard to pull yourself out of it. It's hard to see a silver lining sometimes when you feel like things are against you. But one thing that's been helping me a lot with like dealing with like depression or not getting a gig for years, or feeling like, God, is this what I'm supposed to do? One thing that's really been helping me, I know it sounds so silly and simple, but I wake up every morning and I verbally thank God for waking me up. I never used to, before 30, I never used to do that. I was like, what? I mean, I prayed, I believe in God, and I'm very secure in my faith, but I never like verbally said, good morning, God. Thank you for waking me up. Thank you for waking my mom up, and then going down the list of the things that I'm grateful for. And I found that once I've done that, that helps me not focus on the bad. It helps me not, you know what I mean? It helps the bad not be so prevalent in my life.
Yes, because people can go on Instagram and Brie popping, Brie, the makeup and the hair, but they don't know, like 10 minutes ago, Brie was crying in bed, and she's like, okay, come on, sis. We got this. So and me, I've always told people, go to therapy, because God goes to therapy every other week. I talk to someone, And I think that's very, very important, especially doing what we do, because it takes so much out of us.
Yes.
You're writing your
Yes.
action. If people are telling you what to do, or you're telling them what to do, you're the boss, or it's a lot of pressure. And of course it's fun. Don't get me wrong, we love what we do. But
Right.
but at the end of the day, it's a job.
Yeah.
It's not a hobby. And
Exactly.
a lot of people get that wrong. Like, oh, okay, yeah, he sing and dance, but no, Brie put in work to do this.
Yeah.
And this, you don't get the Tyler Perry just by sitting at home and doing nothing. You have to work hard. Like you gotta kill it. You gotta do.
Yeah.
And like you said earlier, you gotta spend your own money sometimes. You gotta pay
a lot of times.
photos,
Yeah.
hair, clothes, all that kind of stuff. So it's very important that you check in and either like a friend of yours or a professional, whatever helps you talk to God, whatever helps you just carry on.
Yeah.
To do that, because the creative process and the whole behind the scenes can be very, very hectic. And
it's not as glamorous as people think it is. People think it's fun. It's fun. It's an adrenaline rush. It's the same way someone who works on Wall Street gets an adrenaline rush when they are seeing, an investment, like something that's getting ready to go, and they know, and they have that inkling before, and they can call other people and get them investing in it. Like, it's that same thing. It's the same way a teacher gets gratification when their student is giving a presentation, and it's like, wow, what I taught you is really locked in. You're really understanding it. It's the same thing when you see progression, but it takes so much out of you. Like you said, the creative process is, here's the thing for me. What I do, and I think you're gonna get to it, and so I won't talk about it now, just in case you ask me. But what I do is so it does not come from me; it comes from God. And I'm not even trying to be like,
no, that's real,
super religious or anything, but it really does. Like, I can't do anything artistically that is not authentic. Does that make sense? That is not authentic. So that takes a lot out of you. That pulls so much out of you. And if you don't pour back into yourself, see, that's the problem. Because a lot of times people don't take the time to pour back into themselves. And when you don't pour back into yourself, then you feel drained. And then that's when the saboteur, and that's when the depression, and that's when the devil, and all of those things that are so negative in our lives every day, though, that are still there, they're just waiting for their opportunity to jump in.
Oh, yeah.
And that's when they get to jump in. So you have to keep yourself lifted. You have to pour back into yourself.
And that, like you said, yeah, we're going to get into that. Because the creative process, of course, everyone has their own process, but I think, just waking up and knowing, okay, I gotta write a song or I gotta do a show, it can get to you sometimes. So
yeah,
you have to have this mindset to where you're like, okay, because sometimes you just gotta talk to yourself. And I know some people that sound crazy, but I think all creators are a little crazy in their own way.
I do too. They're crazy geniuses.
and also Pisces, because me and Brie, we had the same sign.
Pisces gang.
Okay, so Pisces, we can be a little emotional sometimes, or
emotional. Well, the thing I think about what it is, Prince, with Pisces is I think that we are very intuitive of spirits. I can read people very well. Like, I can meet somebody and I can know their intentions. Like, I'm not really surprised by many people when they turn out to not be who they present themselves to be, because it's something that I saw. Like, I saw it when I met you 6 months ago, that you were kind of this way, and now it's just coming out. So I think that's kind of our gift, but it also makes us very emotional,
So yeah, cause you're right. Cause sometimes you meet people that you love, and they're like, "Ooh, I'm getting ready to meet so and then so and so can be an asshole to you." And like, and for us, I think that we are a little sensitive, and that's good. I think it's good to have to be connected within your own feelings. But I think
Absolutely.
yeah, but I think like having having something bad, meeting somebody and them not being the person that you thought they were gonna be, because of course you're like, oh, they look so nice, they seem so nice, and then they're not, and so you're like,
Yeah.
oh well, that sucks, and so
Yeah.
so I think like everybody has to kind of just relax and take in the moment for themselves and guide themselves to be ready for anything that happens. Because I didn't have some crazy stuff. I didn't have people cuss out stage managers on set,
Oh wow.
5 minutes before curtain. People,
Wow.
yeah. So it and like for me, I know for myself, I have to stay calm. It's either I'm calm or I'm not, and when I'm not, it's not good. And
Yeah.
so,
Same.
yeah, and also, with me being a producer and being like the boss, and I have to run stuff, and so I can't let my emotions fully take over, and
Absolutely.
because
Absolutely.
you have to be professional at all times. You have to be timely. Of course, you know all about time, because Mr. Berry don't play that.
Oh no, he does not. He
Because
does not.
for the last show, it started at like 7:58. The tickets at 8 o'clock, and I was talking to my cousin, and then out of nowhere, I hear Tyler Will Medea, and sit down. I'm ready. I'm like, okay, yeah. So you have to be timely because people do not play. If you want to work with a Beyonce, a Tyler, or Oprah, you have to be on their level. You have to come and show I can do this.
Yeah.
And that's all in your head.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that's the best way to sum that up. And the bad days, talk to somebody. Don't be afraid to go get help. Don't be afraid to ask for to ask someone, look, or tell somebody, I'm like, look, I'm having a real bad day. Can I talk to you for like 5 minutes? And then, after that, cause I tell myself, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna give myself 5 minutes to be very, very angry right now. And then after that, I'm like, okay, I gotta get to work, because that's what we do. We even in quarantine, I can tell you right now, I'm a whole lot busier than I was 6 months ago. Quarantine has been so busy for me. I know for you, you've been doing stuff, right? You've been recording a little bit?
No, actually, it hasn't been great for me, to be honest with you, creatively. It hasn't. It's been pretty bad. I never, and it's just me being candid and honest. I don't really know any way to be but that. But it has. This quarantine has just kind of stifled me creatively. I'm not inspired. It's weird. It's weird because I am inspired to talk about certain things, like to talk about the actual quarantine and what it's doing and how I feel. I am inspired with that, but I haven't found the music to match that, if that makes sense. So nobody sent me any production yet that I've been able to like get that out in the best way. But when it comes to other stuff, again, going back to when we were talking about authenticity, I pull from conversations that I have with my friends or something I see. I could go to the mall and overhear a teeny bit of a conversation and I'll write it down on my phone, and then there I have a song. So for me, I enjoy experiencing life, and I get inspired off of life. Mm-hmm. So because life is stagnant right now, I haven't really had much to pull from. Yeah. So I am trying. I do get on it every day. I'm quarantining with my boyfriend now. So I brought all my studio equipment here. So I have my equipment here, and I have my ring light, and I have my backdrops, and I have the things. I finally have the things, friends. I have invested. Oh, so going back to that ASCAP trip that I took that I was talking about earlier, where I went to New York, my group won second place. So the money that I got from that, I invested into my studio equipment. So now I have my own stuff. Mm-hmm. But it's frustrating. It's frustrating to finally have the things and finally be able to do it on my own. And I just don't feel like I have the right words to say right now. So.
And also for all that watching, it's okay not to be able to create, because it's a really weird time. And like, because me, I'm not someone who loves to go out, and so when it happens, I'm like, oh cool, okay, I got this. I ain't going out anywhere. But then like week 2 came, like, I don't like this. And every day it got worse. And like, again, being real honest, some days like, okay, I just can't. Or like, oh no, it was about 2-3 days where I didn't do anything. I didn't write. I didn't because I just couldn't. I just lay in bed and watch Netflix all day.
It's okay. It is. And I think it's so interesting because there are two types of people, right? There are the people who make you feel bad about not writing a best New York Times selling novel. You know what I mean? Like, it's those people who, because I've seen so many things that are like, if you don't come out of this with an album or a book or a business plan or whatever, then the problem was never the time, the problem was you, or whatever. But to be honest with you, I don't agree with that, because a lot of us are hardworking and a lot of us thrive off of what we see and experience throughout the day. I mean, it doesn't even have to be an artist. You could be a business owner, but the inspiration that you get to come up with a new product or a new food or a new whatever you sell comes from your experience with life. And yes, I can call my friends and we can FaceTime and we can do that, but that's totally different than having human interaction and people to see your family. And then there's so much stress. Like my anxiety has been on 1,000. It's never been this bad. It's never been this bad. Working out has been helping me. I work out a lot, and so that helps me kind of just de-stress. But I get stressed and I worry about my parents and my family. And so when all that stuff is up here in my brain, where's the room for the art? You know, like, I don't have room for the art at the moment. And so I'm just allowing it to come to me and not trying to force it.
Yeah, because the minute you force it, it's not going to turn out the way you want it to.
No, it's going to be crappy. It's going to be, like, I even had one of my friends that was like, well, why don't you just write? And I love him to death, but he was just like, why don't you just write like a one of these little stupid songs that everybody else is doing? Like one of these, like I'm not going to name a song, but he's like, why don't you just write one of these little, easy flight? I was like, but when have you ever seen me do that? And he was like, well, this is quarantine and you need to put something out. You got this, you got that. And I'm like, listen, I understand, but I'm not going to sacrifice how people see my music and my art. The people that do like my music, I'm not going to have them be like, ooh, girl, is this what you came up with? Like, you could have kept it.
Yeah, because that's your brand. That's your brand. That's your
Yeah.
name. And so, me, I don't know if that's a Pisces thing, but but everything I do it to the best of my ability. Even this, I'm like, okay, look, I 12 o'clock, I got to be on. I got, I think that I'm like a really focused person when it comes to work, and also like whenever I see people half-ass have half-ass whatever they do, I get mad because if I go to a show and my ticket says 8 o'clock and you start at 9 and then you sound bad, I'm not gonna be happy. And so
Yeah.
for myself, whenever I do something, of course stuff happens, and that is the way show business goes. Keyword is show business. People don't really get that. It's a business. It's not
Yeah.
just a show. It's a business. People
Right.
have to get paid. There's a lot that happens. But I think like you see it. You never want to put something out there just to do it.
Yeah, for sure. For
Because
sure.
yeah, that's not fair to you. It's not fair to your supporters. So you really have to be mindful, and also too, like some people have really good ideas for you, but it might not be the best idea for you.
Mm-hmm.
And so you really have to be careful on on whose advice you take. You know,
Absolutely.
you know what? God bless them. But look, if someone is telling you, oh, you should put out a song, and that person don't do what you do, they ain't never sung, they ain't never wrote, they ain't never produced. They have no idea what goes into that.
Yeah.
They can't talk to
And
you.
it's stressful enough to put out music. I mean, it's a very, when I put my EP Hard to Love out, that was a very vulnerable moment for me because for several reasons, to be honest with you. That EP had been done. I was supposed to have this big rollout. I was supposed to have this big thing going on, and it didn't happen. And I just dropped it after I got off tour because I was like, hey, I have this music, I'm sitting on it, I want to put it out, I want people to hear it. But it's a very personal EP, and it's talking about, basically when I sat back and looked at it, I was like, dang, I'm basically chronicling kind of a breakup that I had with somebody, like kind of the end of a relationship. And it was therapeutic for me at the time, but it's also very vulnerable to put all of that out and to have people judge it and like it or not like it or buy it or not buy it, and it just means so many things now, and how many numbers and streams do you have and all of those things, when to me it's just my art. Right? So it's one of those things that's like, if I were to put out something that I didn't believe in, the effort that comes behind putting something out is so grave that putting something out that you don't believe in is draining. I can't imagine some of these little like cheesy songs that artists put out, and you like, now they didn't want to put that out, they didn't want, and then imagine having to like sing that for 2 years or for the rest of your life, or so I'm not a fan of that. I don't agree with that.
Cause sometimes I can go to, I'm not gonna name names, but one show I went to, oh God, and they had some really really big names, and the show was just terrible. And on here we're gonna be real. The last show I did was back in 2017. And of course, people are like, hey Prince, when's the next show? And I tell them, because I used to say like, oh, soon. I'm like, but now I say whenever I get the right people involved. That's when I'm doing the next show. Because my last show, it wasn't what I wanted, and it, of course, the people that came, not a lot, but the people that came, they loved it. but it was just so much going on to where I was
Yeah.
like, no, and of course, I have projects that there's a song that I produced 2 years ago, and 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 like this now, I just talked to the artist, like, girl, okay, come on, can we do this right now since we got a little bit of time? So things take a lot of time.
Yeah.
Like, hard to love, cause I played it before we got on here. That it is such a deep, and emotional EP, and like every song, I'm like, ooh. The beats are cool, and the sound is cool, but the actual lyrics themselves, which I wish people would would care about lyrics a little more.
Yeah, me too. I mean, I'm a storyteller. Like, that's what I like to. I feel like whether it's music or acting or dance, I've always been a storyteller. So that's what's important to me, and that's how we pass down our traditions. That's how we teach our children who we are. That's how we preserve culture. That's how so many things happen. It's from people being storytellers. And when you look at somebody like a Babyface, right? Just because we just had the verses with Babyface and Teddy Riley. Did you watch it?
I saw clips.
Okay. Well, I mean, because it was a lot going on.
Yeah.
But I mean, both of them have amazing catalogs. But to me, even just to look at like some of the songs that Babyface has written, the detail that he puts into it. Karen White's Superwoman. I mean, he's literally detailing breakfast. I've got your eggs are over easy, your coffee is done, your toast is how you like just for him to he literally paints a picture. Anytime I hear his lyrics, I can see it. That's what I like, is when I hear a song and I can see a music video. Like, to me, that's how you know that you have something, because you can then visually see it. And so for me, it's important to be a storyteller in everything that I do. That's part of art.
Yeah, because as writers, we often draw from our own life experience, and for me, like you said, a song should be some kind of story. It should have, because me, I love the old school, like I'm like the 80s, 90s, 70s. That's my kind of groove. Like the early 2000s.
Yep.
After like 2013, it kind of just went downhill for me a little bit.
Yeah, it did.
So like if you were to go through my phone, you like, you're an old man, girl. I'm really an old man at heart. I'm being very serious. I'm really an old man at heart. So I think like when I do hear stuff like Harder to Love, available on all platforms.
Thank you.
Amazon, go get it. Go
yes.
buy it. Don't just stream it. Go buy it.
Yes, please buy it.
Okay, so, look, support because people don't support. So,
yeah. No, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, so please support. Like, it's a lot of work to put together a piece of art for you guys, and like of course the consumer, they don't really care, and it's not their job to care about how it happened, but for a writer to really, cause all those songs, see, the thing is, you have to go through stuff to write a good song or a good show, because I'm gonna tell you, going back 5 years to some scripts that I wrote, like, what the hell was I talking about? That's not how life goes. No. And I just had to totally rewrite the whole show. So it takes so much time and effort to put something out there. And so I think when you have I gotta be careful how I say it. When you have an artist that cares about the craft and it's not just like a good beat and like somebody going da 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 da
mumbling and yeah.
Like what the hell are you saying?
Yeah, trust me. I mean, because it's you know, I've joked before and was like, I mean, at this point, Joe, I just need to like tattoo my face and color my hair green and purple, and then y'all will give me a record deal. Like, it's, you know, I joke about it, but that's kind of the thing in this space. But you know what I'm excited about to see is what happens after this quarantine, because I feel like so many people who we saw as, again, we have changed. When I was growing up, a celebrity was an Oprah, a celebrity was a Beyonce, a celebrity was, you know, a Brandy or a Monica. Like those were celebrities. Now you can somebody can tape you, you know, tripping over something in the street and falling into dog poop, and now all of a sudden you're a viral sensation. You have booking info in your bio. Like it's very much, it's really, art is really one of the only professions that people can just wake up one day and be like, I think I want to be a singer, or I want to be a rapper, or I want to be a fashion, you know, designer. Like those are kind of, and it doesn't really take any experience or any skill or any talent for you to say that you want to do it. Now you actually doing it and doing it well and having longevity is another thing. But I think after this quarantine, I think now some of those layers are starting to be pulled back, right? Like some of these people who have been kind of having this facade of being this thing, this amazing, I'm an Instagram girl and I go to parties and I get paid $10,000 for a walkthrough and $50,000 for a walkthrough. It's like, okay, well, girl, what are you doing now that the club is closed? Oh, yeah. And now that your Fashion Nova packages aren't getting to your house as quick. And listen, I'm not hating on anybody's point. Like, I'm not hating on anybody's point, but it does get frustrating as an artist and as somebody who has put in the time and the work. And I mean, sacrifice since I was a kid. There are things that I remember missing out on as a kid because I had an audition in New York and me and my mom had to fly to New York on her teacher's salary and figure out where to go because we don't live there and how to ride the subway. Like, I remember those things. So for me, it is frustrating sometimes to see how quickly people can just, you know, catapult to fame. But again, I feel like this quarantine is showing us who has the goods and who doesn't, and who can maintain and who can't. So,
they get hired because, you know, with the hair and makeup, they not there. And like you by yourself, girlfriend, though, there's a lot of people that really, you know, of course, I'm not trying to make light of it, but it's some people out here that really messed up because they don't know. See, the thing that I was taught was you need to know everybody's job because I write, I direct, I produce, I act, I do all of it. I know how to design sets because first of all, it helps you appreciate the people working for you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
But also too, like, if you doing a show and somebody drop out, you better get your ass up there. So I think like now, like for the people who are like, the overnight success, so of course some people they might call you overnight success, even though you're not. You've been working for like 2 decades, so you're not overnight success. It's been a long time in the making. But I think for the people who like just woke up one day, I'm like, oh, let me put a TikTok. Like, I just found out what that was. I ain't gonna lie to you. I had no
TikTok?
I had no idea. Cause I'm like, what the hell is this? I was so confused. But anyway, but I think that's so important to really like care about this. And like I said earlier, if you're in this for money, leave.
Yeah.
Go find something else, because it's not about that. It's
Yeah.
really about connecting and just, you know, knowing what you want, and like earlier, it's a lot of sacrifice. Some stuff you're going to miss. Some, you know, you, you might you might not get paid. You might get paid $500, but it costs you $3,000 to do it. So,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
like but you know, a real artist, whatever you put into yourself, that's what's gonna come out. So like,
Yeah.
you put hard work and long hours, longevity will come to you. And
Yeah.
also too, like, you know, I'm gonna be very, very honest. So I wrote a book which people can get on Amazon and iTunes and Barnes. And the book has been out for about two years.
Mm-hmm.
I probably sold 100 copies
Mm-hmm.
of that
Oh
book.
wow, but that's great though.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like, within the past 4 years. But
Yeah.
so so it's a slow build to.
Yeah.
You can't just one day pop up there, okay, I'm gonna write a book. No, you have to actually know what you're doing, and like sometimes,
Yeah.
cause you went to school, right? You went where?
Clark Atlanta University.
Oh, you went to Clark. My dad went to Clark. Okay.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, but that was back in like the 70s. So it's yeah, that was. Oh, there was
Well,
not.
shout out to the CAU Panthers for sure.
Okay. He gonna love this stuff. But yeah, so I think, like, you know, if you go to school or you don't, I think, like, if people ask me, can you make talent? Or for me personally, I think it's something that has to be born in you. Like, you know, people call me funny, and like sometimes I'm not even trying to be funny. I'm just being
You just have a natural thing.
who I
Yeah.
am. And
Yeah.
so, like, and people, they might want to come up and talk to me, and I'm like, oh, okay. And like, it might sound weird to me, but, you know, the gift, people can see that. And like,
Yeah.
so I think that's a very important way to really know, you know, okay, can I do this? If
Right.
if someone come up to you like, oh my God, you're so pretty, or like your voice, it sounds so amazing, then you might be like, okay, I might have something here, and then you can develop off of that. Okay, so I'm not gonna keep you long, but we're gonna.
No. You spitting facts right now. No, that's real. I mean, I think I agree with you. I don't think you can teach talent. I think that you can, but I will say this, that you can have somebody who is amazingly talented, but if they don't have any dedication or discipline or hard work behind it, then you could take somebody who is just an okay singer or an okay dancer or whatever and make them great because they have the drive. Mm-hmm. And, you know, I think that the drive is honestly just as important as the talent. And I think for me, one thing that I know that I have is drive. Like, I haven't given up. Like, there are moments that I may take a break from something, or I might say, okay, well, I just want to fall back for a minute and work on my acting, or kind of leave music alone for a little bit, or I really want to focus on putting an album out, and maybe I'll just not stress about auditions. I kind of do both simultaneous, honestly, but there are times when one is more, not even just lucrative, but just more, I'm doing more with the other thing. A lot of times people say, well, do you like to act or do you like to sing more? And I can't pick one, because both of them, when one of them is doing this, the other one does this for me. So it's kind of like I just have to jump from platform to platform. But I agree with you. You can't just wake up and decide that you want to be something and not put any effort behind it. So, and expect to be here in 10 years. Again, there are going to be people who make lots of money right now, but are we going to see them in 10 years? Probably not.
Yeah.
Just people.
I knew it. That's real because, like, look at it. Because some people, you know, okay, because I love Tyler, so I always use Tyler as my motto. He's my that's the person that I look up to the most.
Right.
It took him a long time to get where he is. He didn't become a billionaire overnight. He slept in his car. He was hungry.
Slept in his car.
He was broke. And now he is I think he's the only person to own his own studio outright. So, but he put in the work though.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I can't imagine the amount of sacrifices somebody like that has to make, you know? Yeah. I mean, even just him being who he is and having a child, I mean, that alone has to be difficult because, you know, you can't be with your kid 24/7. And that alone is a huge sacrifice. So, yeah.
And also, Dave and Tam and Miss Cassie, they've all been doing this for 30 plus years. And so it's not something where they just woke up one day like, oh, I'm Tim man. No. It took a long time to get here. And so that's really like, whenever I bring an artist like you on here, I really want them to see the hard work behind Brie, because you can go on Instagram, yes, she's pretty, yes, she's a nice person, but she's a hard worker too. Okay? Yeah. Don't get it wrong. Don't get, you know, that Detroit drive we got. You know,
right. No, it's real. No, it's. You know, I tell people that all the time, like, my hustle comes from Detroit, man. It just does. Like, and I love Atlanta with everything in me. I like to say that I'm 75% Detroit, and I'll give Atlanta 25% because I did grow up here from 18 to where I am now, and this is my second home. But so much of who I am is rooted from our city and rooted from, I've never met, I don't care. I've met so many people. I've never met more talented people in one city than Detroit. I don't care. Like, I'll say that till the day that I die. But the difference is we're in a city where it's not supported. Like, it's not supported. People don't pat you on the back and tell you, yes, go out there and be a singer, or go out there and be a fashion designer, people hate people because of, you know, whatever. I don't want to get into a tangent about the city because I love the D, but it's hard. It's hard to have. It's hard to be a dreamer and be from Detroit. It really is, and it's crazy because we are the sons and the daughters of legends. Like, that's what I like to say. Like, we started, the Black sound started in our city, and I think that the decline of a lot of it is from Motown going to LA. Like, if Motown would have stayed in Detroit, I think we would have had a whole different type of situation by now. But you know, that's neither here or there. I say that to say that my hustle and who I am, as far as whether it comes from, you know, going to an audition, whether it's just having a side job or a side hustle or whatever it is, it comes from being in that city and seeing my family and my friends and their family and their friends work their asses off.
Okay. Oh yeah. Because you know, of course, Detroit, there are some lovely people here, but also Detroit is not a place to where, like, oh my God, like, if Brie came to Detroit, of course they're gonna love on you, but they're gonna okay, hey Brie, like it's that, but I think that is what makes us so tough and makes us want to work harder, because like, okay, well, I'm going to prove to you that I can do this. I'm going to prove myself, and sometimes you have to leave your own city and do stuff, and then when you get back here, like, oh my God, hey girl, like, oh, okay, 10 years ago.
Oh, for sure, but it's you know, it is what it is. It really is what it is, and as I feel like as long as you know the things that you're doing for your career and yourself are rooted in, again, I do this for, well, specifically, I make my music. I like to say that I make my music for women, right? I write from a woman's perspective. I'm happy that y'all love my music. I'm happy that men are like, yeah, I like this song and I like this album. I'm happy. You know, I want everybody to enjoy it, but I make my music for women. And I do it to uplift us. And I feel like as long as everything you're doing is rooted in a real place, and you're not, I'm not doing it because again, I could be singing about other stuff, and you know, I know what I could present as. I know if I put on some booty shorts and some pasties, which again, no shade to anybody who does. Like I'm all for you living your life how you want. But I know that if I switched up my look, or if I switched up the content that I put out, then yeah, I'd probably skyrocket overnight. But it's not worth it to me.
Yeah.
It's not worth it to me to present something that is not authentic to who Brie is, and is also not to me, of God and my purpose. I've understood my purpose being on this earth since I was 3 years old. You know, and my purpose is to change lives through my art, and to be a storyteller. And so if I deviate away from that, I don't see how blessings are going to come my way and how I'm able to bless other people. And so that's the thing. You just have to stay rooted in why you're here. Everybody has a purpose. And I feel like if everybody found their purpose and lived their purpose, the world would be such a much better place. Oh, yeah. But because fame and money are so attractive, you might be an awesome baker, right? You might make amazing cakes and cupcakes and all kinds of beautiful things, right? But the money that comes in that, unless you're a celebrity chef or unless you're on TV somewhere, is probably, I mean, you're going to be able to maintain, but it's not going to be, you're going to be able to go buy a yacht. So a lot of people will say, well, dang, I really think my passion and my goal is to be a baker and to really make treats and things that really bring people happiness. But there's not a lot of money in that, so I'm just going to go be a singer. And so it's just like, if we didn't have the money aspect and if we didn't have the fame aspect, I'm interested to see how many people, even now, artists that we love would be like, you know what I really wanted to be? A mechanic. Because I really like working on cars, or I really like, you know. So I say all that to say, like, knowing your purpose and living in your purpose is the most important thing, I think, you know?
Yeah, because a whole lot of people, they didn't really necessarily see themselves being famous, per se. It just kind of happened.
Yeah.
So I think, like you said, going into it, I think, of course, fame and money, we all want it a little bit. Like, it's something in us that's like, okay, you know, it's good to go to Radio City and have 6,000 people clap and cheer and sing along with you.
Absolutely.
So that's all going well, but also, you know, if it's like a 500 house theater, you doing a concert, or you go to a club, a little small club, you know, like a Apache or something like that, then, you know, that's cool too. And also sometimes you never know who's going to be there. Absolutely. So don't be like, okay, no, I'm not going because we only got only like 50 people. Well, guess what? One of them 50 could be somebody that can get you where you wanted to go. Yeah. And so you have to humble yourself, I think, and never deviate from the reason why you're doing what you're doing. Yeah. For sure. So, okay, for the little girls and boys out here that want to do what we do, what kind of advice will you give them? I think the biggest thing is it always sounds so cliche to say it. It's like, don't give up on yourself. But that's real. It's so real. I mean, there are moments even now. I've been doing this for so long, Prince, and I've had so many highs
and a lot more lows, but I've had some amazing highs. I mean, movies and on stage with Tyler Perry and Trap. Yes, I have a movie on Netflix, so make sure you guys check it out. It's called Step Sisters. But
also shooting Color Girls too.
For Color Girls, yes.
For Color Girls.
That was more of a little role, but I was in for Color Girls. But I mean, there are moments that I still have where the saboteur and the doubt and all that creeps in, and it's like, oh, well, maybe that was it. Maybe, 2020, maybe you ended it on Tyler Perry and that was the high note and nothing else is going to come from it. And you cannot let that overshadow your purpose. You can't let that overshadow. And so that's the biggest thing. One, know what is your purpose. Identify what your purpose is. And everybody's purpose is different. Again, like I said, my purpose is to be a storyteller. My purpose is to share my art so that I can help change lives. That's what I'm here for. Literally, that's why I'm here. So if I'm not doing that, why am I here? So you have to identify what your purpose is. And that's really honestly just a connection and a conversation with you and God. Nobody can really kind of decipher that but you two. So that's number one. Number two, I say just work really hard. I mean, I get a lot of people that ask me for advice on acting, and I'll even share like my advice now on it. I tell people to take classes if you can. And even sometimes there's like online classes, like even if you don't have the money for it, like do some research. Some people will have, a lot of acting classes will let you audit a free class. So I'm not saying bounce around to different classes to just take a free class, but find a class that you like, save up some money so that you can go and take a month course or a couple months or something, or even just getting on YouTube and just kind of finding some classes that work for you could work. Also, get a headshot done if you can't. If you can't get a professional headshot done, I mean, get some good lighting, have your auntie go out in the backyard, find a brick wall, and take a picture, and then just try to zhuzh it up the best way that you can until you can afford to get some professional headshots done. Look into extras, casting, or background work to get you experience with being on set, learning protocol, learning how. It doesn't pay that well, but at the same time, that's the best way for you to understand what it's like to be on a television or movie set.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, and even too, when it comes to stage, take other jobs. I mean, it was so many people on the tour with us that were our stage managers or that were just a part of the crew in a different type of way, but a lot of them are writers and directors and actors themselves and singers and recording artists and all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, heck, Claudette Ortiz was one of our backup singers. And not saying that in any type of way, because Claudette has been on the stage in Mr. Perry's plays a lot of times, but that was just the role that she decided to take. She was like, hey, you know what? I don't want to be on stage this time. I want to sing backup. But it's freaking Claudette Ortiz. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, she's a legend. So it's kind of that. It's being able to humble yourself to say, I'm going to take this role. I've done understudy roles for people before, for plays, like where I didn't even touch the stage. I just learned the choreography or learned the lines or whatever I needed to learn. So those are the things that I would say is don't, put a lot of effort into your craft and a lot of effort into studying and executing and practicing. Also networking. And just really not,
probably the biggest thing.
For sure.
Because, for Color Girls, someone was like, we're going to give Brie this, little small role. And then you had no idea 10 years later, they were going to call you back with something.
I know.
So,
and didn't even call me back to act. It was just calling me back, but it's because I know Raven and I've known her for a long time that she was like, hey, I could call her and I know that she'll come and she'll do the job well, so cool. And again, it was presented to me like, this is no guarantee that you're gonna get a role. You'll be considered, but we really don't know. Like, that was the feel. I never at any point in time that I was there felt like somebody was giving me something. But what I did do is I walked in there and I said, I'm gonna make this role mine. That was my mindset that I had. Now, whether it happened or not, I would have been okay with either result. But in my mind, because I could have got there 30 minutes late, I could have been on my phone or been chewing gum or just not paying attention or just kind of reading and been like, da, 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 da. But I approached the situation like I had been casted already.
Yes.
So, and I think that's what you have to do. I think you have to, if you say you're going to be a singer or an actor or a producer or a director or a writer, then be it. Then go in there confident and be it. Because if you allow yourself to be, and let me say this too before we end, because this is important. So we got the role, right? I think our first show was in Oakland or somewhere in Cali, right? So we're in Cali.
We're in Oakland.
Yeah, it was Oakland. And thank you for keeping me on track. So we were in Oakland, and you know, Mr. Perry was just like, you know, talking to some of us that were new to his production stage, and he was like, something is wrong. I can feel it. Like, what's wrong? And you know, he was like, I need you guys to like kind of, you know, pull more out of it, but let's sit down at this moment and tell me like what's wrong. And so everybody kind of was like going around the room, like talking to him. And my sensitive ass was like, don't cry. Because I just know how I am. Like when I cry, it's not even so much from being sad. It's like a lot of times it comes from frustration or just whatever. So I was telling him that, I was nervous to sing in front of the crowd that he draws. From college, from high school, from whatever, because of my voice, because I don't have this traditional church voice or can hit all these runs and high notes and do all this sprawling and growling and all of that. I mean, you know, we from Detroit, so it's, you know, we grew up on Clark Sisters and all kinds of vocal legends and stuff. So because I can't do all these tricks with my voice and I just have a naturally just like airy, pretty voice, I really was like petrified because like these people are not going to like my voice and it's going to be bad and they're going to talk about me and I just started crying and then I was crying more because I was mad at myself that I was crying in front of Tyler Perry. And he was just like, you are here for a reason. Like, do you realize that this could be anybody? Like in this space, it could be anybody, but it also can't be anybody because it's meant for you. This is your moment. This is you. Like, and he pointed to everybody in the room. He said, you all are here for a reason. I didn't go and just pick you up out of obscurity. Like, you guys came however you came, whether it was somebody suggested you or you came to read for the day and we just decided to keep you, or you're somebody I've worked with before. Everybody is here for their own specific reason. And you have to trust in that and walk in that and trust that God put you here for a reason. And for me, I mean, it just made me relax. It just made me be like, okay, so just go out here and do it, dude. Like, you're here. Yeah. And a lot of times in life, we have this thing called imposter syndrome, where you feel like you don't deserve it. You feel, I mean, Prince, I literally was like on stage, I think like before we started the show. And I was like, how the fuck did I get here? Like, I was just like, excuse me for my language, if you have to bleep that out, I'll give you another. But I was like, why am I here? I was just sitting there like looking around the room like, there's Tamala Mann, there's Miss Cassie, there's Quay, there's Ravon. Mind you, I've been a fan of Ravon since she was putting out music. So I'm just sitting here like,
David, like,
David, all of them. Yeah, I mean, like, I literally was like, how am I here? How? Like, this doesn't make any sense. And so I started to have this imposter syndrome where it was like, you don't deserve this. Why are you here? You're not supposed to be here. He's going to fire you in a week. Don't worry about it. You won't be here long. Like, all of these things were going through my head the first day that we got there. And it's not that I have stage fright or that I'm scared. It just was like being around these people, I didn't feel good. But then when we had that, not that they made me feel that way, but it was myself. But then when he pulled us into the room and he had that conversation with us before the first show, it was like everything lifted off of me. It was like, okay, you're supposed to be here. Like, the man who is running all of this shit is telling you that he is happy that you're here. So be here and do your job. And after that, it was fine. So it's one of those, so I say all that to say, when it comes to advice, be in the moment, and you may not do everything perfectly. You might mess up and you might sound bad or look bad, or this might go, you might forget a line or whatever. just get up and do it again the next day and learn from it.
Oh yeah.
So, yeah.
Because I'm gonna tell you 2 quick stories. Because the first show I did, we had this casting call. I'm gonna be very honest. I do not like having auditions, open calls, because it's a lot of people that you gotta see, and like 90% of them don't know what the hell they're doing.
Right.
So you got people coming in singing their own song. People don't do that. Okay, let me give you a tip real quick. If you're going to audition, please pick a song that people know.
Right.
Because the producer goes, I was like, okay. And so finally, this one girl walked in, and the girl, she was nothing like the role I had in my head. Nothing. Everything about her was just different. But the minute she walked in, something told me that's her. That he want. And then like her audition, she did her sides. For those of you already don't know what sides are, there's like a little piece of like a scene that you read off for the producer or director. And so she read her side, and then she gave us her resume, and we looked at it, and this girl, Whitney Taylor, she's having an EP coming out soon. I'm not sure when we're gonna put it out, but soon. But she can sing in 4 different languages.
Oh wow!
And so she sung and blew me away. And then she walked out. About 2 years later, she was telling me we were somewhere, and she was telling me that she felt so bad after the audition because she didn't think she was gonna get the role. And so they just go to show you can't always be in your head. Or the other story. So I the last show I did, I had cast people, and basically the table read, that's when all the actors and the director come together and read the script for the first time. Three people got fired that day. The person that was similar to your story, the person that was supposed to be like the understudy became the lead. Like,
wow.
So you have to go with the flow, because you never know what the producer and the director is going to think, because you might be like, oh my God, that was the worst audition ever. But I could be like, you know what? It wasn't the best audition, but I can see something in you that makes me want you. I'm like, you know what? I'm so glad that I did cast Whitney, because she has been not only phenomenal actress, but a good friend, and and so that just something to try to encourage people out there that might be doing self-tape. And you know what? It's weird looking at a camera. Like, right now, I'm like, oh, well, I'm looking at the camera, and so.
You know what though too has been part of my process is I'll do something and then I forget about it. Like that's another I guess tip or advice that I can give is like when you're doing a self-tape or you're auditioning for something, whether you're going in person or you're doing a self-tape, put it out and forget about it. And if you get a call back, great. If you don't, then hey, you're gonna hear a lot of no's. Like you have to be okay with somebody telling you no. A lot of times I don't even tell my mom about stuff because she gets so excited for me, and she will, if I tell her, oh, I have an audition for, Empire or something, And to me, I'll go do the audition, and of course I pray about it, and that's another thing too. Of course, obviously pray and stay prayerful and keep faith, and that's the biggest thing, is keeping faith and keeping hope. Like, that's the biggest thing that you have to hold on to, because that's what gets you through when things aren't happening. Or there have been years when I didn't have any gigs, or but a lot of times I can't tell my mom. She's getting better at it. I have to give her credit. She's getting better. But a lot of times I won't tell her stuff because she'll ask me about it 24/7. Did you hear back about the audition? Did they say anything? Did you hear anything? Did anybody call you? And to me, it gets me like riled up and nervous. Yeah. Whereas if I keep it to myself, then it's like, all right, if I get the audition and I get booked for it, then I'll tell her, hey, I got booked for X, Y, and Z.
Sometimes the best thing to do is just to be quiet. Mm-hmm. Be quiet. And, it's a whole lot of stuff that I'm doing right now that no one has any idea about. But the reason I do that is because you don't want stuff to get in your head. And people mean well, especially mom, because my mom, I can't tell her to be like, well, it ain't gonna work. It's like, well, you should do this, and like, people mean well, they really do, but sometimes you just have to move in silence. And then once it's ready, then you can go out and be like, bam, here it is, and you're like, absolutely, damn, bro, the EP, you probably didn't tell nobody, and then you can probably like, whoa, okay, you've been doing this. So it's all about believing in yourself and just knowing that you can do it. You are enough. And look, of course, everybody's not gonna get a sit down talk from Mr. Perry. I'm not saying that, but if anybody, any producer or any writer, anybody that might be higher up, or even somebody that might be a little, they might be a level behind you, they might have something to help you out, and then you can help them out. So it's all about networking. Like, just to end it out real quick, network, very important, because really talent is like, I would say 75% of the business, right? Mm-hmm. But the other 35, wait.
25.
The other 35 is just, you gotta know people. So that's very, very important that, because Brie, I had no idea she was from Detroit, and so when me and her met, like, okay, she's my home girl, she's my home now. So you never know who you're gonna meet out here.
Yeah, for sure. But you were so kind, you know what I mean? Like, you were so kind, and you were always so supportive of us on tour, and you checked in on us and asked us how we're doing. And for a lot of times, it's a lot of times it's people that are like, oh, can you give me an introduction, or can I do this, or can I do that? And no, you never did that. And what people don't realize is like, no, I can't. Like, this is my job. Like, I would love to.
For real.
I wish Charlie Perry was my uncle, and I could just be like, hey, uncle, come outside and say hello to some people, but I can't. We appreciate the support without you wanting something from us, is basically what I'm saying. You kind of just gave support and love, and that just made me be like, okay, this is somebody that I want to maintain a friendship and a relationship with.
And also, just to clarify that, look, sometimes, I'm not saying people can be difficult with people, but when you have someone like, it's not just Tyler, but like Beyonce, Jay-Z, Oprah, because they take care of so many people, and they have hundreds of people, and they have their own families, and because they're so big, it's not always safe to help everybody around them. And also, too, some people they don't like it. And so, that's all I'll say about that. But yeah. But don't go to people wanting something like that, like because it takes away from. You might be like, oh, girl, you were so good, but it's telling them no, because that's like almost like you give me a compliment, but then you're like, well, can you help me out? It's it's not cool.
Oh yeah, I can't tell you how many times that happened. It's just like, or even sometimes, there are sometimes when I don't even take pictures with celebrities, and that can get tricky too, because in your mind you're like, dang, like I gotta get a picture but then you have to think, like, what are you taking the picture for? Are you taking the picture for yourself, or are you taking the picture to put on social media?
Yeah.
Like, are you really soaking in the moment? And so a lot of times I'm just confident that I'll see those people again, so I don't stress. I'm like, I'm gonna see such and such again, so I just know it. I feel it. I'm like, I'm gonna meet this person again, so I'm not gonna stress them over taking a picture and there's nothing wrong with taking a picture. There's nothing wrong with it, but it's just kind of like you gotta feel the moment. When a lot of times people will rush up to people and be like, give me a picture, and shove a camera in your face and then walk away. Like, you didn't even take the time to introduce yourself to me or tell me you enjoyed the show or anything. So it's just, keep those things in mind too, especially if you want to be an actor, you want to be in this field. This is now a part of your profession. Being around celebrities or people of higher caliber, that's a part of your profession now. And you don't want somebody to look at you like you're just a fan and you're just trying to be around the scene and be on the scene. Like, you want people to look at you as an equal and as a professional. So just keep that in mind too.
Yeah, because of course, we all love compliments and things, but sometimes certain things we just can't do, or or even like if you can't do it, it's like, well, this person might be tired. They've been working 18 hours today.
Right.
They gotta fly and shoot something and then come back and do 3 shows. So it's a lot to go into that. So I just wanted to tell people, like, of course, we love the support, but you have to be careful. And also, for you guys who want to be in the business, don't get fired.
Right.
Only gonna leave it there.
Yeah, leave it at that. Right.
I know. Look, people can recast you like that.
Oh yeah.
I've heard people flying out and like they got a couple hours and then they gotta go in front of 6,000 people to perform a show that they just learned about an hour ago.
Yep.
So it all goes into everything, at least that ties this whole conversation together. Being professional is the biggest piece of advice that probably me and Brie could give you right now.
Absolutely, that's key. But I would say believing in yourself, and then 2, being professional. I think those would be top 2.
Yeah, those should go hand in hand. Really.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, so Brie, how can they connect with you? How can they get the album? Like, okay, tell me.
Okay, so you guys can follow me on all social platforms at Brie Tunes. That's BrieTunes. I also have a website, which is iambriemusic.com. And there you can find my music videos and links to my YouTube and Twitter and Instagram if you can't, find them just on the platforms themselves. My EP, Hard to Love, is available everywhere that music is streamed and sold. So please go and buy that and support the kid. I appreciate that. And I have a movie on Netflix called Stepsisters. So while you're in your quarantine, take some time with your family, your friends, and just have a good laugh. So that's it.
Send me your questions for the next advice for Prince. So this hashtag advice for Prince. Follow me on Instagram at Prince Director Official. Go to Prince Entertainment for more information. And we will see you next time. Thank you, Brie.
Yeah.
All right.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Prince.
Of course. Bye, y'all.
Passion, romance, sex, sin, pain, and death. Love unexpected. When you think you know your partner, think again.